Okay, let's get started. My name is Elisa Milang. I am an enrollment advisor at the University of Miami here for UOnline. If you should decide to apply for the Master of Science in Education, Sports Administration, you will be able to speak with myself or one of our enrollment advisors. We are going to cover a lot of content and ultimately hope this will help you determine if our program is going to be the right fit for you. We have a lot of information to cover tonight. So just a few housekeeping items. This will be for about 45 minutes in length. A recording will be made available for you. We do have a Q&A, so please submit your questions there and we will be answering them throughout the session. You'll notice that we may touch on those questions or towards the end as well. We will touch base on your questions or message you through the chat. We want to make sure that we are as efficient as possible. So please make sure those questions are geared towards the content and structure of the program. If you have any specific questions in regards to application items or financial aid, be sure to connect with one of our enrollment advisors. Thank you all for joining us this evening. The Sports Administration Masters is 20 months to complete, 10 courses, and it's asynchronous. So that's one of the best features that it could possibly be because it makes it so flexible for you, especially at this stage. You're taking 2 courses per session. One course is 7 weeks, and then you have about a week of break in between. So I would like to introduce our faculty and alumni panelists today. I would like to start with Dr. Wendy Dees. We have Eva Nichols, Leslie Fitzpatrick, and Elliot Safdie. I would like to start off with you guys telling us a little bit about yourself. Dr. Wendy Dees, do you mind starting off for us?
Sure. Thank you, Elisa, very much for that introduction. I'm Dr. Wendy Dees. I'm the Graduate Program Director for Sport Administration. I'm also a professor in the program. So if you join us to do your master's in sport administration, you will have me for 2 classes as well. And I just want to thank everybody first and foremost for taking the time this evening out of your busy schedule to join our informational session. We're honored and we're grateful that you're considering our program for your higher education studies. We know you have a lot of different options out there. And we're just delighted that the University of Miami is one of your top choices. So we're going to do everything we can this evening to answer all of your questions. And then again, I'm the graduate program director. So if you have any specific questions going forward, you can always reach out to me.
Perfect. And Eva, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself? Iva?
Hi, my name is Ivan Nichols, and I'm currently the Director of Board Operations with the Board of Trustees at Wake Forest University. I graduated from NC State in 2016, was looking for an online program, obviously, toured a lot of different colleges, researched a lot, didn't want to just jump into something, and ended up selecting so go Canes, even though I'm at Wake Forest, don't tell anyone. So did the online program while I continued to intern in the athletic department at NC State. I worked in the facilities and operations department in athletics, worked all their 23 varsity sports. And then I was in a semester of online before I got hired at to work in their athletic department. I worked there for 5 years, then got poached to go work in the president's office. I was director of presidential events there, handling all the events that was hosted by the president, was there for the presidential change, and then was blessed enough to be reached out to come to Wake Forest to work with their board of trustees here and able to move closer to home. So that's a little bit about me.
Thank you. And Elliot, a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Elliot Safdie. I'm a graduate also of the same program, the online master's program that you are looking forward to attending. Um, my working career spans almost 40 years. I've worked in agriculture, entrepreneurship, amateur sports is my hobby, but it's not my full-time job. I work at American Airlines, where I'm a technical instructor, and I work teaching the Boeing 787 to our mechanics and our engineers. So I stay current in the sport industry by participating with the Orange Bowl Committee, Ave Maria Little League softball program, where I'm a mentor, coach, and also uh, help fund some of their events. Um, Recently, I got an award from the Orange Bowl Committee last month for my participation in all their events. That was nice. Yesterday, I had an event at Miami International Airport where I hosted an event for veterans at the airport. And so I'm very involved in charities, fundraising, but my hobby, my passion is sports.
Thank you so much. And Leslie, about yourself and what you do.
Yes, my name is Leslie Fitzpatrick. I am now the head of pro player pathway for the New York Red Bulls in the MLS. Graduated from the program in 2016, and I'm a native of Trinidad and Tobago originally. Played soccer professionally for 10 years after finishing my undergrad degree, and then segued into a career post playing off the field as a starting as a technical director and a coach, and then graduating into executive director of a nonprofit soccer club, and then onto my present job with New York Red Bulls, where I started first as the head of talent ID and recruitment for the academy, which is U now it's U10 to U18. And then recently this year moved into the pro player pathway position, which oversees the reserves of the pro team. And then I still take care of the academy.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And now, Wendy, do you mind going over the curriculum?
Sure. So I'm sure all of you, if you're interested in the program, you've probably looked over the 10 classes. Our program is a pretty standard 1-year master's program, 10 classes, 3 credit hours, 30 total credits. And what I will say about this program is it's very applied in nature, and I'm sure you're going to hear that from all of our wonderful alumni that are on the webinar tonight. This program is designed to, in approximately 20 months, give you a deep dive into the 10 major business areas that you may encounter if you go into the front office of any sport organization. So we want you to be very well versed on everything from management to marketing, legal aspects, event management, the globalization of sport, all of these major areas that you may encounter if you want to work at the intersection of business and sports. So in 20 months or less, you'll kind of have this very broad perspective of business, but with a very specialized focus in commercialized sport. So basically, if you want to work in any area of business and sport, whether it's at the professional level, um, like Leslie, like Tiger, if you want to work in intercollegiate sport, which Iva's got a lengthy, successful career in, or if you want to work in amateur or interscholastic sport or in the community space, like Elliot, any area of the sport industry that you want to go into, you will be prepared to work on all the major business sides of that. So we'll talk a lot more about that over the next 35 or 40 minutes. But those are the specific courses that you'll take while you're with us.
Thank you. So again, I want to thank you all for joining us. And let's just get into some questions for the alumni I would like to start with. And let's start with Leslie. What attracted you to pursue the sports administration degree online at the University of Miami? And what was what was it about this program? Sorry, what was it about this program that really pulled you to ultimately choose the University of Miami?
Yeah, so within my playing career, I mean, I'd always had a very academic background through my family, and within my career, when I was looking at what was next after retiring from playing, you always kind of look at what differentiates you from the rest. And one of the things that really differentiates me is my educational background and my academic side. And so I was looking at, some of the best institutions that I could look at, doing a master's degree in. And then once I came upon the University of Miami, it actually was like full circle for me because I wanted to go to the University of Miami to play undergrad, but they didn't have a varsity men's soccer team. They didn't play in the NCAA. So I'd always had a big interest in it. I knew about the school from a kid. It's Miami was one of the closest or the closest point of entry coming from the Caribbean. So there's a huge Caribbean population. And so I'd always follow the Hurricanes. And, when I looked at what the degree offered, the fact that it was asynchronous and when you graduated, it would be just the same as in school. I had the opportunity to go down on campus and meet with Professor Dees and a couple of the professors during my time there. And it was actually amazing. And then I think one of the biggest things that attracted me to it was, I was already a working professional. And so the ability to kind of juggle and balance my work life, my family, my kids, and also be able to complete the degree and knowing upfront, when your coursework was due, when your exams would be due, all of that really helped me to have a good work-life balance and be able to like couple this into it. So it was a no-brainer for me. The brand recognition was second to none. From a sport perspective, it's one of the most known brands globally, and so it was an easy choice for me.
And Leslie, you talked a lot about the work school balance. How did it look like? How did it look like for you during the time while you were in school, while you were
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, like that's always been part and parcel of my life is having to be able to balance. you know, I'd coming from the island, I didn't have a family that could afford to pay for a lot of stuff for me. So I had to work from day one during my undergrad degree and go to school and play competitively. So when I got to a program like this one that allowed you to be able to do that because it set your schedule early on in advance in terms of when your deadlines would be, that made it simple. Like for me, when I had work during the day, soccer in the evenings, coaching, running that, I would actually do a lot of my work when I came home, decompress at, like 8, 9, 10, do work between 10 and 1 a.m. and then go to bed. And I didn't have to wake up to go into the office before 10 or 11 a.m. So that worked for me. And that's kind of what my schedule looked like. When I traveled, I knew I had exams on certain days. And the professors were really flexible too. They were understanding, they understand that a lot of the people that come into this degree are in similar positions as I was. And so, really being open and understanding of that is another thing that really helped to make the transition into the degree and the path throughout the degree a easy one.
Thank you. Iva, same for you. What attracted you to pursue the sports administration master's with us? And I would also like to know what it looked like for you while you were attending as well.
Yeah, so I was on a little bit of a different path than Elliot and Leslie. I started off online, and the search for that, I never jump into things. I'm not a risk taker, so I did heavy research. Obviously, I'm from North Carolina, so I even went to other schools within North Carolina that had a sport admin, visited with them, met with their professors. And the online of some of those, it felt like it was recorded. You didn't have that personal touch, and to me, it didn't seem like it was, a master's degree. It just felt like it was something that you'd see on, like, just a different kind of feel. So when I researched University of Miami and I found out it's the same as online as it is in person, that was big for me. To know that I could come down and graduate during commencement with everyone else who was attending in person, that was big for me. To feel like I was um, a alum of the school, as someone who's online as it is in person. That was important for me because you hang your degrees up in your office, you say you got it's on your resume, but if you've don't really have that connection because you feel so distant. That was just, I needed that. You also have community, and so I'm a little bit different, I see, from Elliot and Leslie, because then after a few months, I transitioned to in person master's degree, but that was incredible because it was the same professors that I had before that were online. It was a little bit trickier because I had a set class schedule versus when I was online, it was flexible. I was able to continue interning, building my experience level at the same time, building my education to match that. So the flexibility part was a lot harder going in person, especially when you're working in athletics and working 80 to 100 hour, 120 hours a week. It's hard to fit all of that in. And that's not even including the family or social life or any of that you kind of want to fit in. So I definitely enjoyed the online version from a flexibility standpoint, but understanding that I went on a study abroad program, and we even had online students joining us for the study abroad program. That was cool to say, like, oh yeah, I've seen you in my classes, or I've heard of you, or we've had you come in and speak, or virtual something, but now I can meet you on a study abroad trip. That was incredible. So it's a lot of aspects like that that just really attracted me to the University of Miami, and then completely elevated my experience after being able to interact with folks that are not only taking it online, but also in person.
Thank you. That sounds like quite the experience you had, and really fun as well. Elliot, I would like to hear from you as well.
Well, they've said quite a bit. So to not be redundant, maybe I'll just touch on a couple of different things. What you're gonna find is that the faculty is highly respected and knowledgeable. It's the same faculty that teaches the students that are on campus. They've authored the textbooks that you'll use in class and textbooks to use in the industry. So you'll find that what you're about to engage in is like attending a class that's on campus. The professors are available. For me, during that time frame, I was traveling extensively to South America as my assignments were taking me down to Brazil, Chile, and Argentina. Um, so nobody knew I was out of the country. Nobody knew I was a different time zone. Nobody knew I had different days off. I worked the schedule around my personal schedule. I knew exactly when my reportables were due, usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays, with an occasional paper on Friday or an exam on Saturday. So once I saw that trend, I tended to block available times to meet those deadlines. So in the military, we call it a battle rhythm. So once you see that rhythm develop, it just continues from one week to the next. And then once you get your first class out of the way, you'll be like, oh, the second class is picking up. You get a week off, and then the second class picks up. You'll find it's the same rhythm, and it makes it very easy. Communicating with the other classmates was very easy because we're all online. So perhaps they didn't respond to you immediately, but within a few hours of the next morning, you usually had some responses, and that was good for working group projects. So everything that they both said, I agree with. The branding, it's one of the most recognized brandings out there in the sports space, probably in all brandings, all marketing, logos and brands. The U is a U. This is a real school. This is not a paper mill. I'm not going to tell you it's easy. Okay, it is challenging. You're going to have to put the work in, but it's well worth it when you graduate and hopefully you travel down to South Florida and you walk on that stage and you pick up your diploma with everybody else. It's an amazing feeling.
Thank you, Elliot. And thank you, everybody else. So since we're talking about, you guys being busy professionals, Dr. Dees, for a busy professional, what are the advantages of completing this online program from your perspective? And how do our faculty make themselves accessible for questions and discussions?
Yes, great question, Elisa, because I think what everyone's fear is going into their master's degree and considering an online program. If you are working, if you have a family, if you're, just haven't been in school for a number of years and you're starting back up, I know there's excitement about it, but there's fear that it's tech based. What happens if I have an issue, with the tech and submitting things? A lot of students are afraid, like Iva, if they're doing online, the flexibility, and the convenience sounds great, but am I going to feel like I'm on an island and I'm going to get this degree and I feel like I've met no one? Or, I'm being taught by a graduate assistant or an adjunct or someone that has no connection to the university. And um, none of those things are going to happen, and that's by design with our program. So when we created this, those were the things that we wanted to avoid. So I'll just go through a few quick things. Number one, the classes are very small. That's by design. A lot of other online programs, you may be in classes with 50 or 75 or 100 people because it is online and they're trying to pack as many people into the classes as possible. We did everything we could, like Iva said, to make the online program just like our campus program, only delivered asynchronously to you online. So, you'll be in classes of maybe 20 to 30 people. You'll get to know your teammates very well, just as if you were sitting in class. You'll get to be like one little like crazy dysfunctional family, just like you would if you're a campus student. Iva has been a part of the online family and the campus family, but when you're in grad school and it's crazy and you're doing this degree together, that's kind of how it feels. But you'll know your teammates very well. You'll get to know your professors as much as you want to know us. We respond to emails within 24 to 48 hours, just depending on if it's during the day or over the weekend. Um, Obviously, like this, we're available on Zoom. I'm here in the flesh. I'm going to teach you 2 classes and be your advisor, and I'm available just like this anytime you want, even in the summer. Um, I've been on 2 or 3 Zooms this week with my online students who just have questions about class or careers or life, or it's summertime and they're trying to get involved in the sport industry while they have some downtime. And I'm helping them with connections to do so. Some students like to come to campus, and if they have time, if they're traveling to South Florida for work or for vacation, or we send out invitations to everything that we're doing on campus, our online students get information and invitations to. If we have guest speakers, if we have a conference, if we have commencement, if you're down here for a football game, if you're here, in town, again, on vacation, I have students reach out that either want to meet for something serious or they just want to hang out. When Tiger was in our program, it's been 10 years ago. I can't believe it. But he reached out and said he was going to be in town and wanted to come to campus. And we spent the day doing a tour and having lunch. And I think we talked more about family and life and other things versus the program. I see Elliot all the time at our sport industry conference. I used to see Iva all the time when she worked on campus. And so these folks on the screen are my former students, but they're my dear friends now. And anytime I can see them, I love to see them. So as much interaction as you want with your faculty, with the university community, with your teammates, you can have that. And with very small class sizes and accessible faculty, full-time faculty, you're going to get that very authentic graduate school experience. I realize some folks don't want that. If they get in a groove, like Elliot said, and you will, we design the classes to be, they're not all identical. Every professor has a, different way of producing their class, but we all did sit down at the beginning of the program and say there needs to be a lot of consistency because people online want some type of a routine. So like Elliot said, you'll see that, assignments and discussion boards are due roughly at the same time. Projects and papers are due roughly at the same time. So the good news is the first class or the second class might be a little bit of a transition getting back into the swing of being a student, but then the next 8 classes are just going to be a really nice groove for you. And then everything beyond that, the depth at which you want to attach yourself to the university or to your professors or the program or the industry is all going to be up to you. And whatever level of connection you want, we're going to try to help you find that. And then the last thing I will say is the biggest connection that everyone's going to be looking for, and I think the alumni are going to speak to this next, is everybody wants a connection to the industry. At some point, they're going to want to get an internship or a job, or you're going to be wanting to transition from your non-sport career to a sport career. And eventually we're going to help you, with that as well. But however you want to get connected to the U or to the sport industry, we're going to be the bridge to help you get there as best we can. And that's just going to depend on, how much time you have to spend and how you want to get connected through this degree.
You're on mute, Eliza.
Sorry about that. So Wendy, since you were talking about the industry and the trends, how does our program keep up with the industry trends?
That's another great question. So I mentioned in the very beginning that our program is designed to be applied versus a research or a conceptual type of program. And all the alumni on here have talked about the fact that they wanted to get in the industry and they had industry aspirations, and they wanted their classes to touch on the industry as much as possible. So we build all of our assignments and our discussions and all of our readings. They're all based on what's going on currently in the industry. So everything that you do in class for a paper or a project will be something that is an activity that's designed to get you ready to work in a specific area, one of those 10 areas. We have a sport industry conference on campus every spring where we bring about 50 or 60 executives to campus. If you want to come to campus and be a part of that for learning, networking, job searching, excuse me. So we bring the industry to you once a year. And we invite everyone to campus for that. It's also kind of a big reunion where you can see all of your classmates and network with them. We have different guest speakers that we stream online throughout the year in our different classes. Or sometimes we have those in the evenings, and those will be sponsored speakers. We send that information out to all of our UOnline students so that they can get access to those industry insights. Iva mentioned that we have multiple study abroads throughout the school year, where we take students all over the world to kind of get them connected to the industry abroad. If you're looking to either work abroad or just learn about the broader global sport industry, all of that information will also come out to the online students. and we are happy to substitute one of your online classes for your study abroad. So if you take a study abroad class, it will count as your 10th class. So you can incorporate that experience into your degree program. There's just a lot of different, industry things that we do. But the bottom line is anything that happens on campus with our campus graduate students, if our online students can be involved in that, you will get an invitation from UOnline to either join online, come to campus, plan to be involved over the next, several months. So again, your connection to the campus will be as much, as you want it to be. And then your connection to the industry will be, as much the same as we can make it for our campus students.
And I think that's something so awesome and amazing because, especially from my experience speaking to all the students, and especially in the front end, they're all looking for connection. They don't want to just feel like they're just behind a screen, So the fact that we offer so much as a university is really something really amazing because you do not see that everywhere. So Elliot, I would like to ask you, how have you tapped into the alumni work network? Since we were discussing this just briefly now, um, how have you tapped into it?
Well, actually, the school reached out to me first, so they always felt like I was part of the school. So I have received invitations to numerous events. I received invitations to skills and interviewing, if you're looking for a job, headshots on the campus. The Topol Business Center always offers support for graduates. I participated in tailgates with alumni. Um, Recently, I had a young kid I was mentoring that was looking for an entry into professional soccer. And I reached out to Leslie Fitzpatrick for help, and he provided us some insight. He gave us some good feedback, and I provided that back to my young man. And Leslie, just so you know, he's on his way to Spain. He's been signed by one of the lower tier clubs in Spain, so we're hoping that he gets picked up by one of the bigger teams. But that's an example
Congratulations,
right there.
Leslie.
Yeah, so
Amazing,
it's all about
amazing,
yeah.
amazing.
And thank you for the feedback. So it's all about staying connected with each other, helping each other out. Um, some of my classmates work for the Yankees. I think once with the Panthers. They've gone on to different teams. So it's just a matter of somebody needs some help, some support, and you kind of think of who went there, who works for that, or somebody knows somebody in the industry. So when you graduate, you're somehow going to be connected. You're going to know somebody, or somebody that knows somebody. And in my example, I reached out to Leslie. He was the first one on my mind, and it was pro soccer, and he was very helpful.
And I'll just add to that very quickly, Elisa, if you don't mind. One of the things that I think really makes our faculty stand out, and I always say this to any prospective student across any of our programs, campus or online. We would love to have you at the University of Miami. I am going to recruit you as hard as I can, but I'm also going to say put our program up against anyone. Please research other programs and compare us. We want the best for everyone. We want to find the right place, but there's nothing about our program that I would hide or not share with you. And what I would encourage students to do when I say that all of our faculty are full-time, we all have terminal degrees, we all have the highest degree in our field, but we all remain active in the industry in our areas of specialization. And we all stay connected to our students, and we all work to, help promote them and get them, noticed and connected in where they want to go. So one thing I think is very unique about our faculty is if you go to our faculty page and you type in any of the professors' names, myself, Professor Resnick, Professor McNary, Dr. Martin, put any of the professors' names in LinkedIn and connect with us. we will be there and connect with you, and you will see that we're all active, on that site day in and day out, promoting the program, promoting our students, connecting our students with people that, that they want to reach out to. We're sharing all the great things that our students are doing. Tiger just got promoted recently, and we were super excited about that, and everybody was sharing that. And same thing with Iva. Whenever, we were sad to see her go to Wake, but it's what's best for she and her family, and she has an amazing job at Wake Forest, and they were very smart to poach her, like she said. She's probably going to be like President Nichols one day at a university in the ACC. So one day you might go on to be at a university where President Nichols is on your campus. She already like looks the part. So yeah, so we were promoting that. So I encourage you, while you're trying to look at different programs, search all of us on social. We're there and we're active and we're working, really diligently for our current students. We'll do the same thing for you when you're in our program. So, definitely look at that, and you can also see what all of our students are doing in the industry, because that's what we're all talking about. We're not on there promoting ourselves very much. We're there trying to do the best we can to get our students connected in the industry. So I would encourage everyone to look us up on social and see what we're doing. And I would encourage you to do that for faculty at other programs, and see if they're active in the industry, see if they have a social presence, see if they're doing the types of things that are going to help them leverage you if you become a student in their program.
And I'll kind of tap onto that as well. You
Yeah.
can't get very far within UM's like website or Instagram posts or anything without hearing about Canes Care for Canes. And it's not just a motto that sounds great. It is so active. It's active within alumni events that they do all across the country, the world. But it's also so prevalent in South Florida and other places within the country. So when Paul Resnick, who's one of the professors there, when he reaches out to say, hey, do you have an opportunity for one of my kids? He's, or students, they're looking for what have you. We are making connections and making it happen. It is amazing that these professors care so much about their students, because I personally haven't, I've been around higher education for a while now, and I haven't seen that to the extent that it does. So there's a Facebook page where folks that are graduated from UM or that are looking to hire a cane, and they will post jobs with whether it's in athletics or it's in other types of higher education roles. With me working in board of trustees, I'm at the highest level of seeing college athletics move in the college athletics realm. It's 30,000 foot, working with an athletic committee that determines everything. So it's not just working in athletic programs. There's so many areas that touch it, and so their connections go beyond just what you would think of recreation and professional and college athletics. It goes beyond that, and their connections just go across the entire country. And Canes really do hire Canes and want to care for Canes and make sure they're set up for success.
Thank you. And it's so amazing every time we do these sessions to hear the impact that it had on our alumni, because it is truly, the U I consider truly a family. I've been a UM fan since I was a little girl, so it's really, really great to hear that it is making an impact in all of your lives and continuously. Thank you all for coming on and being on the panel today. So as we're finishing up here, I would like to go over some of the next items. So we have been speaking about the resources and connectivity, the Topple Center, Launchpad, online library, the Topple Career Center, as Ivo had just said, Canes like to hire Canes. There's a lot of networking there. And then just to go over some of the enrollment requirements, you will need to submit your transcripts in order to apply, your most updated resume. So now will be a good time to update those resumes so you can have it ready for your application. You will need to write a personal statement, which is just a little bit about you, why you're looking to do this degree, and about your life goals and aspirations. You will need 2 letters of recommendation. It cannot be from a family member or friend, professional, from a past professor, an employer, maybe a previous instructor you had in the past. And then you will need to fill out your FAFSA if you're choosing to apply for FAFSA and pay through financial aid. And of course, submit your online application. So we do have the early admissions deadline, which is Monday, July 7th. I did see one of the questions asked if we do offer any scholarships. We do offer a 50% tuition waiver for anyone that's meeting the early admissions deadline by Monday, July 7th, as well as the $300 deposit fee waiver code. Now, when it says that you have to submit by Monday, July 7th, that is including your letters of recommendation. All documentation needs to be submitted in order to be considered a complete application. So please keep that in mind. You can call the 800 number below to speak with one of our enrollment advisors, and they will be more than happy to walk you through the process. And as always, you can start your application online. And we look forward to having you at the U. Okay.